Hello and welcome to Cupid Education. Today we are going to go through sample paper 1 for the level 2 functional skills maths city and guilds exam. Now this is the legacy paper, which means that I think as of May 2020 this exam will no longer be available to sit. So if you are watching this video and you are doing the legacy paper, that's great. But if you are watching this video and you are on the new spec for City and Guilds functional skills, there will be some videos coming on for those exam papers shortly. They just don't have many papers to use at the minute. I think they only have one. So for this video, we are going to go through section 1. There are also videos on section 2 and section 3 of this paper. And then eventually there will be some more for different sample papers that I have. Okay, so let's start by looking at section 1 or task 1 for this paper, and that's about a team building day. Now, if you're not sure on all these papers, you get 25 marks for each task, and there are 3 tasks, meaning the entire paper is out of 75. Okay, now it's up to you how much of this you read. I don't tend to read this, but then again, that's because I'm very lazy and I don't like to read too much information. However, in order to be able to answer the questions correctly, please take your time and try and read everything really carefully. Okay, so this task is about organising a team building day for employees from a local company, and the day will take place at an outdoor activity centre. Now, none of this really matters to you. Your main activity will be organising something or doing a timetable of some kind, because this is what it says here. So choose teams, select activities, draw a timetable, and calculate costs. So let's have a look at the first question. You will also need to check your calculations and review your work, and I'll explain that in a bit more detail as we get to the question. So here's the first question, question 1A. You need to put the employees into 2 teams, Team A and Team B. Each team must have a similar combined fitness level score and include at least one manager. So you need to decide who will be in each team and complete the table. Show the combined fitness level score for each team. Now here you've got all these different people, you've got their fitness level, and then here it's asking for the combined fitness level for Team A and the combined fitness level for Team B. So just bear with me as we go through this because I have not got the answers and I will be working them out as we go along. And I do try and show a lot of working out. Now in some cases, like here where it says show your working, it might be a bit difficult because you might be able to do quite a lot of these kind of things in your head. But if you need to write down any information, just make sure it goes in this box. For other questions, I would definitely say show your working out. But for this one, just try and show little bits here and there when you can, if you can. So first of all, the first thing you needed to make sure was that they had a combined fitness level, but you also needed to make sure it had one manager. So first of all, I'm going to look down to my managers, and I've got an office manager, a production manager, and a sales manager. Now, the sales manager and the production manager have both got a combined fitness level of 2. So automatically what I'm going to do, because they're the same, I'm going to say that this person is on team A, make it a capital A, and this person is on team B. Okay, so they've already got a combined fitness level. Now we've got some production staff and some admin staff. Now I'm going to look for similar numbers and try and put them in as best I can. So here, 5 and 5. So I'm going to put this one in A and this one in B. Okay. Then I have got a 4 here and a 5 here. So I'm going to put this 5 in team A and this 4 in team B. Now it says similar fitness level. It doesn't say exactly the same, so don't panic. Okay. Now we have a 2 left, another 2, a 3 and a 3, which is lovely because what we're going to do now is just share them out. So here we've got a 2, so they're going to go in A, and here's a 2, and that's going to go in B. We then have a 3, so it's going to go in A, and another 3, which is going to go in B. So as you can see, just from doing that and trying to get a very similar level, the only one that wasn't the same was this number 4. Okay, we had a 5 somewhere and a 4 somewhere. So I've just gone through and looked at who's got the similar levels and put them in A, B, A, B, A, B. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A's and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 B's, which is great. So I've now put them into teams, and I just need the combined fitness level. So if I look at the A's, I've got 2, 4, 9, 12, 17. So for team A, 17, and then team B, I have 2, 7, 9, 12, 16. So, and then 16 goes there. Okay, and I can confirm to you that that is exactly the correct answer because I've looked at this paper a lot of times, even though I've not got the working out. This is definitely the correct answer from the mark scheme. Okay, so for that, I've got 4 marks just for being able to fill out that table. Okay, right, so let's have a look at 1B. It says here, how did you decide who to put in each team? Now, it's not really your decision because it's told you why you've had to put them in those teams. So that is all you're going to say. You've put them in that team because they had a similar combined fitness level, and because you needed a manager in each one. And that's what you're going to say. So number 1, I put a manager in each team. And number 2, I chose teams which had a similar overall fitness. Oops, let's put that down here. Fitness level. Okay, so I know that sounds a little bit silly, like why bother putting that if it's already in there in the question. But again, those are the answers on the mark scheme, and that is what they're looking for. You've chosen those people because they've told you to do it this way, but you can just put that back in as your answer. And another 2 marks just for writing exactly what they want you to write. Okay, so let's look at question 1C. Now, I know this sounds a little bit silly, but these are one of my favourite questions because I'm really into organisation, so I like timetabling. So here it says that you now need to select activities to fill the day and make a timetable. You will receive the following email from your manager. Hello, please put a timetable of the selected activities together for the team building day. Make sure we have a 9 a.m. start and a 5 p.m. finish. We will need a 30-minute introduction to start the day, an hour for lunch from 1 p.m. and a half an hour prize giving session before we finish. Both teams will do the same activities at the same time, and everyone must do archery straight after lunch. So actually, it's giving you a lot of information there. So the way that I like to do these, I'm going to zoom out quite a bit because I want to be able to see everything, is I like to put in all of the information that they've given me first. So they've told me that it must start at 9 a.m. Okay. And we will need a 30-minute introduction to start the day. So that's that's your introduction there. Okay. That's till 9:30. We don't actually know what's going on at 9:30 yet. Okay. Just gonna move this down a sec. So we just leave that for now. It also says that there needs to be a 5 p.m. finish, and they need a 30-minute introduction to start the day. Sorry, an hour for lunch from 1 p.m. So 1 p.m. an hour for lunch. Okay. I'm gonna put that in as at 1 p.m. for now. If we need to change it later just for a certain reason, like we can't fit an activity in, then I'll change it. But I'm just putting in everything that they're giving me. Half an hour prize giving session before we finish, and it finishes at 5. So obviously that must be at 4:30 p.m. Prize giving session. And then at 5 p.m. we finish. Okay? So is there anything else in there that we need to make sure we are aware of? Oh, everyone must do archery straight after lunch. Archery is for 60 minutes, which means and lunch is also for an hour. So that must be at 2 p.m. They're going to have archery until 3 p.m. Okay, we don't actually know what's going to happen at 3 p.m. yet, but we do know that we've got to put everything in from here first. Okay, so I'm just going to read that one more time. Make sure we have a 9 a.m. start and a 5 p.m. finish. We will need a 30-minute introduction to start the day, an hour for lunch from 1, and an half an hour prize giving session before we finish. Okay, and everyone does archery after lunch. So everything is in there. We then need to pick the other activities that everyone's going to do and make sure that they fit in around this time. So we have 3.5 hours from 9:30 until 1 p.m. So we can fit in quite a lot in that time. And then here we only have an hour and a half until the prize giving session. So here, if we have an hour and a half for the prize giving session, that's actually 90 minutes. So we could do something like tree climbing. Okay, tree climbing is 90 minutes. Let's put in 1.5 hours. You don't have to do this. I just like to write it in just in case. So I know that then that takes us up to 4:30. Okay. So 9:30, we have 3.5 hours to fill. So 3.5 hours. So let's have a look. I could choose two 90-minute sessions, but we've got no 30-minute session. We could choose a 1 hour session, another 1 hour session, and then a 90-minute session, which I think would be the best way. So 9:30 until 10:30, we're going to do something for an hour, and I'm going to choose mountain biking. Okay, that's up to me what I choose. And then from 10:30 until 11:30, I'm going to choose something else for an hour, and in this case, I'm going to choose paintball. And finally, from 11:30 until 1, okay, sorry for my lack of, here I've done like 1 p.m, 2 p.m, and then here I've done 11:30, 1 p.m. So I'm not sticking to a particular type of clock, so I'm sorry for that. But I don't think it really matters. So for an hour and a half, I'm going to choose another 90-minute. I'm going to choose the assault course. If I'm honest, I think that's a lot of physical activity with no break, but right, so we've got everything in there, I think. We have a 9 a.m. start until 9:30. We have an hour for mountain biking, so I'm just going to check that I've done those right. 10:30 till 11:30, we're going to do paintballing, which is also an hour, correct. And then 11:30 till 1 is the assault course for 90 minutes. We have our lunch at 1 p.m. and it lasts an hour. We all do archery, and then we're going to do tree climbing for an hour and a half. Again, that's a lot of activity, isn't it? And then at 4:30 is the prize giving session, and we finish at 5 o'clock, and we get 8 marks just for writing all of that in. So bear in mind what I did there. I put in all the information that I knew, and then I added my activity. I think the reason people get confused is because they're trying to add activities into a timescale that they've not really thought about. So make sure you try and do that, okay? And that's your 8-mark question, so it's really nice. Okay, so moving on to 1D. Okay, now 1D is a lot easier than people realise. I think people get confused with percentages and fractions and whatever. So let's have a little read of the question. You need to work out how much the team building day will cost the company. Remember, there are 10 employees. So option 1 is £38.70 for each employee for a whole day of activities, including a free lunch. But you get a 15% discount when booking for more than 8 employees. Option 2 is £9.65 for each employee for each activity, plus £6.95 for lunch for each employee. So that's, 2 different options there. We're going to start with let's start with option 2 because it's the easiest one. We've got no percentages to work out. And here is where I want you to try and show as much working out as possible for every single thing that you do. So you've got, how many employees do we have? Forgot. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, sorry. 10. If you already knew that, I apologise. So 10 employees. If we have 10 employees, it is 10 times £9.65, okay, which is for each employee. But then we have to times that by each activity. Now let's have a look at what activities we're doing. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 activities, okay. So then we need to times that by 5. Now we have to make sure that we're doing that correctly. So it's the 10 people, okay, times £9.65 per person times 5 activities. So just make sure you don't forget that last bit because some people do get a bit confused and forget to do that last section. So that gives you £482.50. But then it's also £6.95 for lunch. So we must do £6.95 times 10 people. Oops. Okay, so £69.50. Then what we're going to do is add them together. So if we're going to do £482.50, and I know it looks long-winded adding in all this working out, but trust me, you will get marks for it even if you get your answer wrong. So that ends up being £552. So the cost of option 2 is £552. Fine. Looks like a lot though. Okay, a lot of money. But anyway. Now, let's look at this option 1 then. Option 1 is £38.70 for each employee for a whole day of activities including free lunch. So that's all right then. So we just need to work out, first of all, let's move this text box. Oops. So we just need to work out, first of all, £38.70 times by our 10 employees. So let's write that down. £38.70 times 10. Okay, gives us £387. But we actually get a discount of 15%. Now, when we're working out percentages, what it's telling me is that I now need a discount of 15% from the £387 that I've just worked out. If it's 15%, we can change that 15 to a decimal, and 15% as a decimal is 0.15. Okay, so if I did 387 times 0.15, it gives me £58.05. That is my discount. If that is my discount, it then means that I have to do 387 take away £58.05. Okay, so 387 minus £58.05, sorry. Okay, it gives us a total of £328.95. Okay, so that is what would go there. Alright, and you've done all your working out for that part. Now, it gives you 6 marks for this, so you're looking at about 5 marks for this part and then 1 mark for your explanation. Sometimes they might give you 4 marks for this, 2 marks for this, so just be careful to try and get everything right. So it's saying, but it's pretty obvious how to get this right anyway, because it's asking you which option you would recommend. Well, I'd like to think that we would choose option 1 because it's cheapest. I mean, why would you choose the other option anyway, being like more than £200 more? So we're going to tick option 1, and in our box we are going to explain that it's obviously the cheapest option, and that's why. Okay, it is the cheapest option with the same benefits, I guess we could say. Okay, there we go, just put that there. Right, and that gives you an entire 6 marks for that question, so I hope that made sense. We'll move on to 1E. I think that's it. Oh no, we've got F as well. Okay, so now 1E, and everybody struggles on these questions. 1E, check one of your calculations to 1D and use a different method to the one you used originally. Now here is 1D. Check one of your calculations. The calculation that I'm going to check is this one, because I can work this out in a different way. So 387 times 0.15 gave me £58.05. And that is like saying I want 15% of 387. So instead of doing it that way, I'm going to do it a different way. So the calculation I'm going to check is 15% of 387. And the way that I'm going to check that is I'm going to find 10% first. Okay, so 10% equals 38.7. All right. Now, if you've not watched the videos on finding percentages, please go back and do that. But when I find 10% of a number, I just move the decimal place 1 space there. So it's 38.7, okay? And then what I'm going to do is, rather than doing my calculation like I did before, if I found 10%, I can find 5%. And 5% is 19.35. So if I've got 10% and 5%, because I've just halved it, by the way, so here's your 10%, all I did to get 5% was half it, because 5 is half of 10, and 13.35 is half of 38.7. So that's our 10%, 5% makes 15%, so our 15% must be the original amount that we had, okay, which is £58.05. And I would definitely check this using a calculator as well, okay, just in case, because you do get a calculator for the entire thing, and why wouldn't you check your answers? Alright, so try and do that. So I hope that made sense. You've been able to use 2 different options for working out 15% of this number, giving you a really nice way to check that calculation. Okay, finally then, 1F, I think, yes. 1F, you were asked to choose teams, suitable activities, and how much to charge for the team building day. You need to think about how well you did the task. Make 3 comments. Now, I know it sounds a little bit silly, but this one is kind of one of those things that you just have to do and you'll get the marks as long as you write about something that you've done or think you could make better. So think about any other information that you would have liked, how sensible your answers were, how well your methods worked, anything you found difficult, and things you might do differently if you had to tackle a similar problem. Okay, so first of all, let's just check. Let's go back a minute. And if we look at our first one, we're not given any ages for these people. So although she's an administrator, Nita could be like 60 years old and not really be able to do much tree climbing. Okay, so I would say that for my first one. I would say here it would have been nice to know the ages of the staff members. Okay, so ages of, there we go, the staff members. Okay, next it says any other information, how sensible your answers were, how well your methods worked, anything you found difficult, and things you might do differently if you had to tackle a similar problem. Okay, so again, you can just kind of like, I don't like saying it, but even blag it a little bit, you know, like, is there anything else that you could have, you might have wanted to know about this situation? Like, why is that one so much more expensive than this one? Why is there no other activities that you could have put in there other than really, really physical activities? And mountain biking, paintball, a salt course, then lunch for an hour, but then you've got archery, tree climbing. It's a lot of physical activity. Why is everything so physical for, you know, for such a short amount of time, really? But then again, it depends how much of it you'll actually be doing. But if you're mountain biking for an entire hour, then you go and play paintball for an entire hour. You're not going to want to do an assault course for an hour and a half. So is anything like that that you want to think about? I'm just trying to think if there's anything else up here. Yeah, so ages, we already know fitness level and gender. Anything else that you would have done differently? Or anything you found difficult? So again, anything you found difficult. You could suggest that that you found it difficult to work out the which option to choose for the meal, or sorry, for the actual day, because of the complete very difference in options. Was there more information that we could have had to suggest that we should have chosen option 2? I mean, why is option 2 more expensive when it's exactly the same thing that we're getting? I find that strange. So it's just thinking about things like that, and Welsh you can put in there how well your methods worked. You know, you can see that my methods worked really well. I was able to use different types of methods to work out percentages, anything like that that you can think to put in there. Alright, I won't write all them in. Take me ages. Okay, so they're the ones that you kind of get all the marks for as long as you put something in, but make it a bit detailed. Don't just put did not understand such and such a question. It will not get you a mark and you're just wasting marks and time, really. Okay, so that is everything for part 1. We will move on to part 2 in the next few videos. As I said, if there is any topics that you are struggling with in the exam questions section, go back to the channel and watch the videos on those topics first and then come back to having a go at the exam questions. Okay, and also enjoy the other videos that are on there for task 2 and task 3 for this entire sample paper. Okay, well done anyway, and I hope to see you next time.